Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Radio Works World. My name is Marion Bevington. I am your vision host here today. And today's show, we're going to start to look into being present. Because, as you know, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. And today is a gift, which is why it's called the present. And so this very now present moment is actually all we have. That's it. That's all we have. Because when we're in the past, we're in our imagination, or we call it the memory, but it's the same thing. When we are in the future, we are in our imagination. And so the only time that we're actually here, real, is in the present moment. So today we're going to get real. So what I'd like to talk about today is to talk about how is it that you get into the present moment? And not only how do you get into the present moment, how do you stay here? So we're going to start with one of the devices that I know that brings us into the present moment, and that is sound. And it's one of my favorite devices because with the yoga that I teach, I focus on awareness. And when you are being aware of, you could be being aware of your thoughts of the past or your thoughts of the future, but when you're being aware, you're most close to the present moment. And so let's be aware for a moment of sound. So I want you to close your eyes, become aware of your body. And with your eyes closed, feel the weight of the body sitting down in the seat, lying down on the bed or the couch, or standing on the floor. So just feel the weight of the body and allow gravity to do its work, which is to hold the body against the ground. So feel the weight of the body. And at the same time, feel the height of the body. So the weight of the body is connecting to the ground, and the height of the body is growing out of the ground. And this body that you have, it has some ears. So right now, keep your eyes closed. I want you to use your ears for this. Just allowing the sound in. And as you listen to that sound, wow, it's still going. Noticing the sound is one way of being present. So when you're noticing the sound, you're not naming it, you're not imagining where it's come from, you're not trying to connect to it in any other way than allowing the sound through your ears into your brain to register as something that is stimulating, that is something that you are hearing. So just once again, let's just do it for a moment, eyes closed. Just listen and allow this sound to travel through your ears. Now, I know the sound quality isn't always the best when you're online. For me, the experience of that sound is so great when you really connect to what the sound is doing, because the sound is coming into my ears, but it's also, the sound resonates, it vibrates all around me and through me. So I could feel it in my sinuses, I could feel it in the space inside my mouth. It was like I could almost feel it in my chest, in the space in my chest as well. There was this really gentle vibration. And this bowl is tuned close to the heart chakra. It's a different one to the one we used last week, but this is also tuned close to the energy of the heart chakra. And so again, the heart chakra can actually receive information. And through receiving that information, it helps to relax and rebalance the body. And vibration is, like a ripple, there's the ripple effect. So not only do we have the ripple effect with sound vibration, where the sound ripples out and connects to everything around it and affects everything around it, but it also has this quality of smoothing things out. So especially a sound like this, which is a beautiful singing bowl. I'll show you this one. This is different. This is called a Naga bowl. We've got a Naga bowl today because it's got a little stand on it. Naga means snake. So I think, and I'm actually guessing here, but I think that this could possibly be what the snake is. It's the thing that the bowl sits on. But what it means is you can, very gently, I'll do it. You can hold this and you can actually tune and connect to different chakras. And it actually changes the tone. So there's it's like there's a conversation going on between my body, one of my chakras or some of my chakras, and the sound of the bowl. It's just, they're beautiful. If you want to know more about Naga bowls or about singing bowls in general, connect with me. I have some brilliant teachers. I've got some brilliant people who are really professionals at working with sound. They know about sound and how to work with sound. And I love sound. I love working with sound. So one of the things with this ripple effect that I said, it smooths things out. So the sound can help to smooth things out. You know, when you're listening to music and you notice it helps to relax the body, or sometimes it makes you want to dance, and dancing smooths me out. I know that. Well, I suppose it depends what kind of dancing you do, doesn't it? But dancing kind of smooths me out. It helps me to relax. It helps my body to adjust and rebalance. And you know, like when you make the bed and you smooth the sheets over on the bed and you just gently press away all of the creases on the top of the bed, so you're left with this really nice smooth surface over the top of the bed. Well, sound has the effect that your hands do on a ruffled bed. Sound can help to just really gently relax and stretch out and connect to and equalize and harmonize all of the tissues and all of the energies that we are. And this is one of the areas that helps me to get into the present moment. Now, meditation is a device. There's loads of different types of meditation, but what meditation means getting present, becoming present. And for me, the most important thing about meditation is to become really aware of whatever I choose to focus on in this moment. So sometimes a meditation will focus on a sound, sometimes it will focus on a feeling, sometimes it will focus on the breath, sometimes it will focus on the temperature of the breath. So meditation is where we begin to, it's like we reduce the activity of the mind, but we don't go from active to asleep, because that's what often happens in our Western body. The mind is so used to being switched on, full on, you know, running around the hamster wheel, not knowing where you're going. Oh my God, I've got too much to do. I don't know when to do it. Jumping from one shiny new thing to the next shiny new thing, and then realizing you haven't finished anything you'd started. And all of that stuff all goes on in the mind, and judging people and judging yourself and judging things and situations, and not being in the present and not accepting things and being in the past and being blah, 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 blah. All that goes on, and it's constant, isn't it? You know, you've got your phone, you've got your computer, you've got your nan, your dad, your mum, your son, your brother, your sister, all of these things, the TV, the radio, me at the moment, all of these things bombarding you with data, with information. And so with meditation, what the aim of meditation, and this is my experience and my interpretation, is to go from active, and to focus in on one thing, and to slow down and to bring where it's almost like you're hovering, you might say. Because if you then allow everything to settle, that's where sleep will come. Because in that settled place, the body and the mind are so used to being on high alert that you get settled and it goes, oh, sleep. So between the chaos and sleep, there are many levels. And each of those levels can be reached through meditation practices, different practices that settle things down, that begin to smooth things out. But obviously we don't want to reach the bottom and we don't want to get to sleep. Meditation. And if you find that you always fall asleep, that usually means that you're not getting enough sleep. And most of us don't get enough sleep. We don't get enough of the right quality of sleep. Because if you sleep very well because you've drunk, that's not the best type of sleep. Or, you know, you might use other devices. You might, you know, people have all sorts of ways of getting to sleep. But if you're not asleep naturally without any drink or drugs or any sort of, other things, compounds or things that you put into the body to make you sleep, if you're not naturally falling asleep, then actually the quality of the sleep that you get is probably not going to be very good quality. And the other thing that keeps us active and keeps our sleep not pure and not balanced are things like radio waves, Wi-Fi is particularly strong, even having things switched on, electrical cables with energy passing. So if you've got electrical cables around your bed, did you know that they interfere with the quality of your sleep? Because they do. And there's so many other things of our sleep. Stress definitely affects the quality of our sleep. But this electromagnetic stress, I think many times we're not really aware of it. But if at all possible, you should switch your Wi-Fi off at night, and you should have as few electrical things switched on anywhere near you in bed at night. And then the other thing that can keep our sleep from being at a very good quality are other people. So if you sleep next to your partner, or you sleep with people very close to you, even if you sleep with the wall at the head of your bed and there's another person on the other side of the wall, this is actually going to impact the quality of your sleep. It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, if we tried to follow all of the rules, we'd have to go and live in an igloo in the middle of nowhere, wouldn't we, really? So obviously that's not very practical. And just being aware of these things and on choosing, you know, how much of this can I pay attention to and actually make changes so that it will have a positive impact on me. That's very important. But not feeling over goes on to all of the chatter in your head. And that's not the purpose of what I'm talking about today. The purpose of what I'm talking about today is to learn how to get into the present. And one of the tools that we need to do that is to be well rested, have good quality sleep. The other thing that happens in the life that we lead today is which impacts sleep. People who've got kids, if you've got kids and the kids are under the age of 29, not really. If the kids are under the age of about 15 or 16, then you're probably not getting enough sleep because, you know, you're looking after the kids all of the time. And we don't really, I know lots of my friends have got children and they don't really expect the children to become independent. Now, at the age of 5, 6 or 7, children should be given chores at home to help mum and dad do a little bit less work. They should be helping and sharing the workload in the household so that everybody is equally involved. And that means that as a parent, you'll actually possibly have a few less tasks to do, a few less dishes to wash. You might get a few more minutes of sleep. So when you are well rested and your sleep is a good quality, then it really helps you to, again, to meditate, to reach this point of hovering, because this is the place of meditation, this hovering space. So you're not crazy, active, chaotic, all up here in the craziness of the whirlwind of the head. And you're not asleep. You're just above sleep. This is the place where meditation really is impactful. And when you reach this experience, remember last week we talked about timelessness, formlessness, inflow, and access to everything, those 4 things that happen in samadhi. Well, samadhi is one of the deepest states. This is the base. This is a sleep. Samadhi happens about here, I think, somewhere like that. So in order for us to reach these deep states of meditation, we need to be well rested, and we need to start practicing how to step out of the chaos and just down a level. and get really used to this practice here so you can come down another level and get really used to this practice here. So these are steps. These are steps on a long journey. And people want to be able to go from here to here. There, like that. Hopefully my hand signals are working. Now, if you're listening to this and you're not watching, you're not going to have a clue, are you, what's going on? So if you are listening to this anywhere, I will make sure that the link for the video is available so that you can see what I'm doing, because all my hand movements and my hand gestures are part of the information that I'm sharing with you. So we've got sleep at the bottom and we've got chaos at the top, and then we've got these graduations down and all the way down to samadhi, which is a millimeter above sleep, for example. Hopefully that's created a mental image for you. Did I tell you to open your eyes again? If I didn't, you can open your eyes now. I've just remembered. I'm not very good at telling people to open their eyes when we've gone into a closed eye process. So meditation is something that we find really difficult because of the way that we live in this chaotic mind. Now, one of brilliant tools that I've got that I use on me and I use when I'm deprogramming and working with my clients, it's called EFT, it's tapping. And with tapping, what we do is we tap on meridian points. There's one here on the side of the thumb. You can use either side. It's just next to the thumbnail. I think we've done tapping on the show before. And on the index finger next to the nail here, on the thumb side, on the middle finger, thumb side next to the nail. Ring finger, it's on the other side. It's over here. It's on the little finger side next to the nail. And little finger, there's a point there. There's one on the karate chop point. There's one on the top of the head where the baby's soft spot is, the fontanelle. And then there's one at the beginning of the eyebrow here. There's one at the end of the eyebrow here. And then there's one under the eye here. And there's one under the nose. There's one under the mouth. And the collarbone points, which if you had a school tie or a shirt and tie, they'd be just next to the knots. And you can see, if I get a bit of bony there, just under the beginning of the bone is actually where the point is. Oh, if you press it, you can feel it. This one is connected to the adrenal glands and the kidneys. And because this creates overdosing of adrenaline, we'll all have oh, that's a nice mark, isn't it? We'll all have an energy, bit of a blockage or a bit of an overactivity or something going on here. So there's an imbalance, which means that when you really connect to that point, then you will, you'll feel it. If you know anything about acupuncture, it's called K27. It's the kidney 27 point. It's the last point on the kidney meridian. Now, the meridians are where electricity flows, where electrons flow through the tissues in the body. And so, again, thinking about, you know, this ripple effect and this balancing and this smoothing, well, that's what tapping does. Tapping does a smoothing and a balancing, and it takes out the lumps and it smooths out the dips and it calms the blockages or the overactivity. It begins to rebalance and it re-energizes, it harmonizes, it does all this amazing stuff to the energy in the body. And so, we should do some now, actually. Let's do some tapping. So I want you to think about all of the chaos that's going on in your head right now. I want you to think about, you know, this, either the shiny new things that have been distracting you all week, or I want you to think about that one job that you've been trying to achieve that you've not actually been able to do. Or I want you to think about that one problem that just won't leave your mind and it's interfering with it. So just one thing, and I don't want it to be huge. You know, if you've just been through a tsunami, don't bring up the fear from the tsunami because it's a bit big. So just think about something that's quite small that's been stressing you. And when you think about it, so I've got a project I'm finishing, and there's been a few hiccups, and it's like I'm on a hamster wheel, but there are rocks in the way, and I get the rock off and the hamster wheel keeps going around, and then the next rock arrives. And so that's the sense that I've got. These rocks, they're never ending. And I keep running and running and knocking rocks and running and knocking. So I can really get it. And that gets me in the pit of my stomach. So when you tune into your stressor, the one thing that you've chosen to work on just now, just tune into the stress of that and notice where do you feel it in your body? Oh yeah, it's like a knot underneath my belly button. I can feel it. It's like a big knot. And so let's do some tapping. So you're going to tap on the karate chop point here and say, even though I have this knot in my stomach when I think about this stressful situation, or whatever your symptom is. So even though I have this symptom in my body, when I think about this stressful information, I'm okay right now. I'm here, I'm alive, and I'm tapping. Even though I feel this sensation in my body when I think about this stressor, everything's okay right now. And I'm happy to be tapping, even though I've got this stressful feeling in my body when I have this stressful thought. I'm happy to be tapping. Tap on the karate chop point. And then tap on the top of the head, this feeling in my body when I think about this stress. And tap at the beginning of the eye, and you might get a sigh. See, that sigh just came to me then. Ooh, that was nice. So if you get a sigh or a yawn, it's great. Just let it go with it. Beginning of the eyebrow, this stressful feeling in my body when I think about the stress. Tap on the outside of the eye, this stressful feeling in my body when I think about this stress. And then tap on the underneath of the eye here and say, this stressful feeling in my body when I think about this stress. Under the nose, thinking about this stress. Oh, another sigh, nice. Are you doing sighing or yawning? If not, just keep tapping under here. This stress in my body when I think about this stress. Tap on the collarbone points, this stress in my body when I think about this stress. How could anybody ever meditate when there's all this stress? How can I ever get out of my head and down to meditation, to the floating of meditation, the hovering, when I think about all this stress? And then tap on the side of the thumb. So it's the outside of the thumb on next to the nail. This stress, when I think about this stress, I feel it in my body. And then tapping on the index finger, this stress, when I think about this stress, I feel it in my body. And on the middle finger, again, thumb side next to the nail, when I think about this stress, I feel it in my body. On the ring finger, tap on the little finger side next to the nail. I feel the stress in my body when I think about this stress. And then tap on the little finger. This is the heart meridian. Why is Marion making me think about something stressful? She's supposed to be talking about meditation and being present and being calm. And then tap on the karate chop point and just take a slow breath. And let your hands relax and close your eyes. And just listen. Just listen. Keep listening. Take another slow breath. Slow, slow. Not too deep, just slow. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. Yay! I remembered to tell you to open your eyes. And now I want you to think about your stressful situation again. So think about it. So what am I thinking about? Oh, that's the hamster wheel. Oh, wow. Okay. So think about your stressful situation again. So for me, it's the hamster wheel and the rocks that keep appearing. Now, how does it feel? Notice if there is a difference in your body or not. You may feel the same sensation. Now, mine's changed. I can now feel this in my chest. It's changing my breathing slightly, but it's not in my belly anymore. So notice what's happened to you. And I'd love to hear your comments, because you can just keep tapping around with that process. Notice, tune into the sensation that you have when you have the stressful thought. Notice where you feel it in your body and tap, and use that little sequence that we just did. And whenever you feel stressed, whenever you feel stressed, that took 3 minutes to go around. Sometimes it takes less. Just use it. Just tune into how the body is feeling, because by acknowledging the feeling, you're helping to begin to smooth the ripples, to smooth it out, like making the bed. But you're doing it in a way where you're not asleep. So you're somewhere less than chaotic because you're focusing on one thing. And because of the world that we do live in, and because of the chaos, and because of the Wi-Fi, and because of the kids, and because of the hamster wheel, and because of the rocks, because of all of those things, it makes it really, really difficult to meditate, like really difficult. And it is one of the most frequent questions that I get asked by students and by clients is, how do you meditate? What does it mean? How do you do it? So hopefully in today's show, you've learned a little about how to do it, what to do, and what meditation actually is. There are many different ways. There are many different explanations. And all I can share with you right now in this present moment is my experience and my explanation of what I practice and what I preach. So I practice what I preach. Yay! That makes me feel like I have integrity, and I love living in integrity. So practice as often as possible. Tapping can help to bring you down from the chaos. And it also keeps you focused on one thing. And even though you're moving around and you're saying things, you're actually being quite present because you're focusing in on one thing. And then especially at the beginning and at the end of the practice of tapping, you tune into your body and you feel the sensation that happens when you're in this crazy thought. And you can't think and feel at the same time. Did you know that? You can't. You can't think and feel at the same time, because feeling is a kind of a thought. It's a process that's similar to a thought. And actually, even though we believe we can multitask, we can't. The brain does one thing at a time. And it might switch very quickly between different tasks, but actually it can only ever be focused on one thing at a time. And so focusing on the present moment, being aware of information that the body is receiving, happens through feeling, not through thinking. So get into a place of feeling and sensing, not thinking, sensing. And in a place of sensing, there is meditation. There is the present moment. So, Marina, will you come and join me in this present moment?
Well, Marian, I'm here all the way and I'm with you. And I can't have enough of the now, you know. Seems that the now doesn't leave me anymore. No. So when people are asking me, so how can you be so happy all the time? But actually, I don't plan for it. I just live the now and what is not to be happy about.
Absolutely. We can enjoy everything, can't we? Marina, you can enjoy, if you're angry, you can still enjoy it. If you're happy, you can enjoy it. If you're sad, you can enjoy it. Every moment is here to be enjoyed and savored. And it doesn't matter what the emotion is or what the situation or the condition is. Enjoyment is possible in every single moment. And so I love that. I love that you say that you've got this happiness in the now.
And you see, I said something which I discovered a while ago. And I think our listeners could benefit from making, how should I put it, the quick fix. As you say, all I have is now.
Yes. That's what we've all got. That's all we have.
This moment, it's all I have, is the most precious moment ever for me. So I don't know what's next, and honestly I don't really care.
No, well that means if you're worrying about what's next, well, you're worrying for a start. Or if you're thinking about what's next, it means that you're imagining something, so you're not in the present moment. And if you're not in the present moment, there really is no joy without this sense of sensing, of feeling. And so while thinking is happening, it's not actually possible to have thoughts and joy at the same time, because the experience of joy is sensed. It's not a thought.
You know, when we are talking about circumstances and we are talking about things, and I always like to remember this. Best things in life are people, are not things. And now I have the privilege, the chance, the the amazingness of being here with you, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, blimey, this is so amazing. And it is, because there are moments when you have to just be yourself with the rain, and I love that as well. I love dancing in the rain.
Yes, me too.
So much beauty in the rain. And I know people are complaining in England about the rain, and I think all that time, if you could just enrich that time by being grateful for the rain and enjoying the rain. I remember when I was temporarily in a desert, or an area where there was no rain for years, and I just think, oh my God, they never had rain in the last 6 months or 2 years. And once actually I was in San Diego, and I wanted to plant a little plant in a garden. So it was a gardener there, and I asked him, can I help you? And he looked at me and he said, are you sure? Yes, this is what I want. I want to plant a plant in the desert. And he said, well, there is no rain. We have to water it. So I look at the sky start raining. And he was like speechless. Are you a witch? I said, no, I just wish for you to have what I have. I always have rain, and I love it. And started for half an hour or so, and he was keep shaking his head. In San Diego, and he said, we had rain for over 18 months, not even 1 minute of rain.
Wow. And you brought the rain for them. I was in Sardinia at New Year's. I spent time in Sardinia, and I was staying in a beautiful little property with a guy who has lots of olive trees. He makes his own olive oil. And he said that the trees are dying because there's been no rain for a long, long time in Sardinia. So exactly the same thing. It's like we don't appreciate what we have. And it's like we have this human condition, don't we, that we're conditioned to want what we see rather than what we are experiencing.
So in your view, how is that possible, to see what you are experiencing?
To sense in exactly the way that I was describing then, just after we did the tapping. If we sense things, so for me, what we see and what we sense, they're kind of the same. So obviously we have the vision of the images that come in through the eyes, but the skin sees by feeling its way through life. The nose sees by smelling its way through life. The tongue sees by tasting its way through life. So we have all of this information available to us, but none of that information is available while we are thinking. And so when we can take the attention out of the thoughts and bring the attention into the body and actually be a witness to the experience that the body is having while it is aware of what's being sensed, tasted, smelled, seen, heard, touched, all of those senses bring loads of information. And that information is truth. And that information is present, is here and now. Because every other piece of information that we think we are perceiving, we are actually thinking. And that means we're not perceiving it as a real active sensory experience. It means we're imagining it. And the imagination is a brilliant and powerful tool. But when we allow the imagination to be the master and not the tool, that's when we get into problems. And I think that's what some people call, the ego. I've got to get rid of my ego, or my ego is too big, or his ego is too big. When people talk about the ego, they're talking about this thinking state rather than this being state. And I agree that the more we are in our being state, sensing what the being is sensing, the body is sensing, that's where we are in the present moment. Whereas when we're thinking, generally we're thinking about the past or the future. You can't think and feel at the same time. So thinking means that we're not present. So does that answer your question?
Yes, very much so. So are you saying then that I'm always in a trance? Yes. So
thinking is trance.
In a trance,
yeah,
means that I'm going with what the trance is about. So if I'm thinking about the past and I'm worrying about something, then I'm in that trance, and that could become a trance of struggles or worrying or fear, instead of enjoying the moment, enjoying the experience I'm having right now of speaking with you and having my water, for example, or
Exactly.
and being real. So most of the time people go with these thoughts and worries and doubts and everything that is crashing down on them, instead of enjoying what they have right in front of them. And I used to be that person, but because
me too. I was very heavily into the experience of the thought, which is not real.
Yes. So you remember the BAFTA award we had in December? People were saying, so where is the noise? Where is the screening? Where is all that they were expecting? So I said, no, there isn't. All we have right now is each other. So we better love each other. We better love the moment, and we fill the room with our love for each other. We fill the room with the love for this moment in time. And people went along with it, and they just changed their perception. They realize that they're not there to witness something on the screen. They are there to bring their own energy and create a new experience with their own energy.
It's so true. And if you think about what enjoyment is, how do you know that you're enjoying something? Well, you know because of how it feels. You don't know you're enjoying something because of the thoughts that come. You know that you're enjoying when you have a feeling of enjoyment. And joy is a state. It's not even really a feeling, but unless you're feeling, you won't know if you're enjoying or not. So to actually be in joy is what enjoyment means. And to be in joy, we have to be, not think, not do, not act, not speak, we don't have to do anything. We have to be. And that's where enjoyment is. It's embodied joy. And so we have to be in the body to experience enjoyment. Does that make sense? That's a bit complicated.
Total sense for me, and I hope our listeners are going to take that leap of faith and just experience the now. So I know that most people need validation from other people or from getting different certifications or getting a new degree, and I've been through all that process. And eventually, when I retired, I realized that actually is nothing left for me, because I've done it all, I've seen it all, and yet I feel empty. So for me, experience is the fabric of being human, the humankind.
Absolutely.
And is the fabric of feeling something that nobody can take away from you.
Absolutely.
Because everything else in the outside world, I believe, doesn't belong to you.
No.
Absolutely. But what you feel, the way you feel, let's say you go to a movie premiere, or you go to a red carpet event, or you go to a gathering or a networking event, and you meet amazing people and you connect with them. That experience is something nobody can take away from you. And it's so precious because it reminds you who you are and where are you going. So I know that experience is something that most people would like to talk about, but I learned along the years that actually, first thing, I have to trade my to-do list, the one that society is expecting from me, family, whoever around me, the outside world is conditioning me to believe that I have to do, and I trade that to-do list for my to-be list. So I allow myself to be, simply be.
Perfect. I love that. And it's isn't it true that when we get lots of, I mean, if you gain some education and you gain a qualification and you get a certificate and you're not using it, you're not sharing it, or you're not experiencing it, what a waste.
And it is also the same with writing a book. Most people think that it will be good to write a book because that will give them visibility, credibility, but actually they never feel like authors because they've never done an autographing session. They never had people queuing up to sign their book. And that feeling is so precious. It's the most amazing feeling when other people want that experience, that moment, that now with you and nobody else. So that's why I really believe that the experience is the greatest gift of life you can share with somebody. And the experience of your show, for example, I so wait for your show every single week because we have the experience of being right here, having each other. And yes, the world is listening. And I'm very, very happy to share that experience with the world.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for having me.
I think each moment is what we make of it. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There is a choice in every single moment. And it's my choice to make. Nobody can make the choice for me. I can choose to do as I'm told. I can choose to follow conditioning. I can choose to follow other people's rules, live up to other people's expectations. Personally, I don't choose any of those.
What is your key message, Marianne, today?
Is make choices for yourself.
That's very powerful. Until next time, from both of us, remember, make choices for yourself.
Namaste. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.